des Volkes, gib du jetzt deine Stimme ab. Wenn ja, dann tritt für mich ein, so wie ich für dich eingetreten bin.
Meet the new boss, folks, same as the old boss. He is still a part of this new world order system, whether he realizes this or not. Whatever Donald Trump is doing at this point is being allowed to happen. He didn't just slip by the oligarchs because of his charm and his money and his reality TV fame. You can expect some superficial differences to give the illusion of draining the swamp. Guys, let's face it. At this stage in the game, these elections are more choreographed than a ballet. And now just because Donald Trump is in the runnings doesn't change the fact that these elections are very, very much so controlled. At the end of the day, the deep state runs America, and if Trump were not in on this, he would either be ignored or killed by now. Trump is no threat to the deep state establishment. He's essentially the Barack Obama of the Republicans. Just a useful celebrity in order to make you think that your voice matters. This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, and as you can tell by that little intro, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden has recently gave a speech that is eerily reminiscent of the days of fascism. I mean, he's ranting and shaking his fists with this ominous background filled with military men and red lights, and as he speaks about healing the soul of the nation, he seems to be invoking the spirit of Hitler. And remarkably, ladies and gentlemen, hashtag PedoHitler is trending on Twitter right now. Here it is. Look at this. Hashtag PedoTwitter trending along with Biden and MAGA. So that is certainly something that is good to see. But you may have also noticed, folks, from my intro there, a little montage that I put together of just a few clips from when I've been covering this right from the very beginning of Donald Trump's campaign, trying to explain the fact that democracy is the illusion of choice, and this man is controlled opposition. Whether or not he realizes the extent to which he is being used, the deep state is certainly allowing this man to be in this position. That's what I've been saying from day one, and that's what I'm going to continue to try to explain to you guys as we are now seeing Biden talk about Trump, because I believe Trump is the deep state's pick to run in 2024. And this is why I made these videos a few years back, guys, which is incredibly important to understand the democracy deception, where I really break it down and explain to you how the illusion of choice works. But then more importantly, I followed it up with the democracy deception part 2. What's the alternative? So this is really the crux of what we need to talk about today. So we are going to get into that, guys, but we're also going to take a quick look at this. Biden attacks Trump, MAGA Republicans as a threat to democracy in blistering speech. We'll also take a look at Trump's response. He says he must be insane or suffering from late-stage dementia. Trump slams Biden after awkward and angry Philadelphia speech and calls on someone to explain MAGA to him slowly but passionately. So we're going to look at all of that, guys, in today's video and much, much more. But really quickly, before we do, if you appreciate my efforts to bring you this info, I'd ask you to check me out here at pressfortruth.ca/donate. Here you can do a one-time donation with PayPal by clicking there. You can do a one-time contribution with Bitcoin by clicking there, or other cryptocurrencies here. You can join me on Subscribestar by clicking on that banner there. It's a great Patreon alternative since I have been kicked off of Patreon. You can also do so here for a monthly reoccurring contribution. Any amount is greatly appreciated, guys. You can also do an e-transfer to dan@pressfortruth.ca, or if you like to keep things old school, you can send stuff to my P.O. box, guys. Links for all of this is located in the description below. Once again, thank you so much to anyone who does take the time and effort to contribute to my efforts here today. All right, let's start with this, guys. Joe Biden desperately chose this satanic-looking backdrop for his speech tonight. He is truly an evil man. You don't have to dig too deep to know this. Just look at how Hunter Biden turned out. Read Ashley Biden's diary entries about him taking showers with her, hashtag PedoHitler. And indeed, this is all very true. I've been trying to raise awareness about that over the years as well. There was this one not too long ago, just a few months ago, I put out, this is the stuff that they don't want you to see, showing how Hunter Biden's laptop expose is really showing how he and his father are pedophiles. And I also covered this. James O'Keefe raided by the FBI over Biden daughter's diary. And indeed, just like this guy says, just take a look at his daughter's diary entry, and you'll see her talking about him taking showers with her. And we're talking about inappropriate showers with his daughter at a clearly inappropriate age. This is why the FBI was so adamant about keeping that from the public and raiding James O'Keefe to try to get their hands on the diary. And it's funny, Twitter is actually censoring this whole hashtag PedoHitler right now. In fact, I bet you if I refresh this, because earlier it was like #2 trend, along with MAGA and Biden. And look, I'll refresh it now. It's nowhere to be seen. Let's just give this a try. Look, Biden, Rings of Power, Label Day. It's nowhere to be seen anymore. And it's just impossible. It was #2 like an hour ago, and it's not even showing up here. So they're clearly trying to hide this whole PedoHitler phenomenon, which is taking off, and rightly so. The man's being exposed time and time again. So we need to continue to do that. But let's take a look at specifically what he said in this speech that has so many people upset, and we're going to be hearing about this right on up to the midterm elections. President Joe Biden accused former President Donald Trump and his supporters of promoting an extreme ideology that threatens democracy in rare primetime remarks Thursday as he stepped up attacks on conservatives ahead of midterm elections. Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Well, that's true to a great deal, but that's largely because of the policies that have been set forth by the powers that ought not to be, who are controlling this little puppet right here. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic, Biden said in a speech from the Independence National Historic Park in Philadelphia. He accused so-called MAGA Republicans, a reference to Trump's Make America Great Again slogan, of refusing to recognize free and fair elections, increasingly talking about violence in response to actions they don't like, and of being determined to thwart the will of the people. Isn't it funny how they kind of talk about other people in the direct way that they know is the way that they are acting? MAGA Republicans have made their choice. They embrace anger. They thrive on chaos. They live not in the light of truth, but in the shadow of lies, Biden said. I think all the very same things can be said about him and his party. Ahead of the remarks, a senior administration official insisted that this was not a speech about a particular politician or even about a particular political party. Biden said he didn't believe the ideology he was referring to represented that of most Republicans. But the problem is, guys, it does represent that of most Republicans. As I understand it, I think it's something like 58% is the last stats I saw of the, which is, majority of the Republicans who are in favor of MAGA, policies and the things that Trump was putting forth. So this is just simply not true. He says not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans, Biden said. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans, and that's a threat to this country. The man is literally talking about apparently 74 million people who allegedly voted for Donald Trump, who he's flat out insulting in a speech which could quite literally invoke civil war. I mean, we really haven't seen anything like it in quite some time. It's pretty remarkable. For a long time, we've reassured ourselves that American democracy is guaranteed, but it's not. We have to defend it, protect it, stand up for it, each and every one of us, Biden said, and we'll talk a little bit about why he's so adamant about protecting democracy. But before we do, let's take a look at Trump's response to all this. Donald Trump launched a seething attack on President Joe Biden, where he branded him insane and asked if he was suffering from late-stage dementia after the president claimed that he was a threat to democracy. The furious former president took to his Truth Social account, where he to slam the awkward and angry speech outside of Independence Hall in Philadelphia, and called on someone to explain to his successor what MAGA means, slowly but passionately. The late-night rant also saw him accuse the 79-year-old of threatening America, including with the possible use of military force as he fought back at the brutal address to the nation. Hours earlier, Biden had taken to the stage at Independence Hall in Philadelphia, where he launched an incensed attack on Trump and accused him of destroying American democracy. Standing on the darkened stage with ominous red lighting, the president called Trump out by name and slammed him for promoting the claim that the 2020 election was stolen. But folks, it clearly was. I mean, do you think this man wrote this speech? Do you think he came up with the imagery for the background? Do you think he's cognitive of doing any of these things at all without being totally handled on strings like the puppet that he is? It's absolutely mind-boggling that people would think that over 80 million Americans voted for this man. They hate him. Nobody likes this guy. I've never seen anybody who claims that. In fact, it's kind of funny. Here he was getting heckled at this speech just last night by people chanting the classic meme, "Let's go Brandon," in the background.
Empathy that fuels democracy. The willingness to see each
Let's
other,
go,
not
Brandon.
as enemies, but as fellow Americans.
And then he points it out here.
Look, our democracy isn't perfect. It always has been.
He's mumbling. He can't even talk.
Notwithstanding those folks you hear on the other side there. They're entitled to be outrageous. This is a democracy.
Oh, they're entitled to be outrageous. Those people screaming "F Joe Biden" and "Let's go Brandon." It's so clear that that this guy is just such a staged puppet. But this brings us back to the crux of the matter, folks. The fact that democracy truly is the illusion of choice. And as I said in the beginning, it still remains to be seen just how far, to the extent that Donald Trump understands just how much he is being used by the deep state, but I think they've understood how to play on his ego in order to continuously make this thing work, which is why I took the time and effort to put together these important videos that really do play out like a short documentary film. I did it in 2 parts. The Democracy Deception, really important to understand, followed up by the Democracy Deception Part 2, What's the Alternative? And here's what I said about the Democracy Deception Part 1. The money changers, that is, this cartel of banking families whose inheritance dates back centuries and who have manipulated world events through their power to create money, these people are behind democracy. Not just the puppet politicians that we're supposed to vote for, but the very idea itself. And as I said, I followed that up with Part 2. Obviously, this begs the question, what is the alternative? Democracy is the deception that we are somehow progressing just because we vote, when really, democracy is just another version of communism. And like any communist state, the erosion begins with the family. In this video, Dan Dixon Press for Truth goes over the various pros and cons of what may someday replace democracy, but more importantly, how traditional morals, standards, and values need to make a strong comeback before we can ever achieve a libertarian or anarchist utopia. And that is the really important point to make as well, guys. As I say in this video, it comes down to, removing that plank of wood out of your own eye before you attempt to remove the little speck out of your brother's eye. So really, really important information that I really hope you guys will take the time to watch. It's only 22 minutes long. I spent a lot of time and effort researching and putting my thoughts together for this video. So please take the time to check that one out, guys. Links are going to be located in the description below. And this, when I say that, this means on the video platform that you happen to be watching this on. So you may not see all the links on my website if you're watching it there, But if you're on BitChute or Odyssey or Rumble, or maybe Minds or Bastion or Float or maybe even YouTube, you can just click on where it says more, go into the description there, and you'll see all the sources to all the information that I always cover in every video. All the sources are there. But that's where you're also going to find the links to where you can help me and support my efforts moving forward, like this one here, pressfortruth.ca/donate, guys. So once again, if you do appreciate my efforts, don't forget to check those links in the description below. And thank you again to anybody who does. But just wanted to once again reiterate, we are dealing with a very sophisticated deep state who is putting on the illusion of choice. This is like two wings of the same bird. And I know I always upset a certain portion of my audience here at PFT when I talk negatively about Trump, because they've unfortunately been duped into the illusion that democracy is somehow a choice by the people, when, as I said, it's a nice idea, but it is 100% failing in today's day and age, guys. So beware of the two-sided coin here, and let's remember that moving forward. But if you want to, again, understand my my views on the solutions here moving forward, don't forget to check out the Democracy Deception Part 2, What's the Alternative? Once again, all the links for all of this are going to be located in the description below. So that's all for today, my friends. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to click that thumbs up button, share this video with your friends and family who you think need to see it the most. And stay tuned, we're going to have more video reports coming very soon. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth.
We all want truth. The truth will set you free.